Welcome to the cryptos market monthly review. Let's do a bit of dubious speculation and see what we can see here. Let's start with Bitcoin dominance on this layout on the monthly chart. Uh, Bitcoin dominance is likely to close red on the month, and with all these red closes, I always expect them will go back into it. So, we'll go back into this candle before you continue your leg to the downside. You have to always kind of prepare yourself that way. If you go to the 4-hour chart, it probably tells the story. You can see Bitcoin dominance has been falling for a long time. Uh, it's been falling quite a bit, and it's in the oversold region. So I wouldn't be surprised for a bounce that comes all the way back up to maybe 60.3, retest the bottoms here around 60.4 before you get maybe the leg to the downside. It could even already come all the way up to here, 60.67. And if you put it on the monthly chart, 60.67 is just above the body of the candle here. So it's not that disastrous if it does. So that's what we see. We expect a bit of a move up, and then you get your move back up to the downside. So that's Bitcoin dominance. Let's move on to Bitcoin itself and look at it on the Bitcoin Liquid Index and look at what we can investigate here. So I'm going to start from the beginning of Bitcoin's lifetime. And if you look at it from the perspective of these indicators we've got here, and also our MACD, this is a fast MACD. You can see here on the fast MACD, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin starts falling, falling, falling. You get an ETS, and then it moves into a green, whereas the the slow MACD would still be red if it's even showing us that. It didn't give us that, but anyway, the fast turned green. It was red on the ETS, and then you went down a little bit. We went down probably about 15%. I think it was 15%. If you do a move back from this candle, it's about 23%. So you did about 23% drop from the bottom of the candle itself. But you can see here after that candle, we went up higher first, then we came and then did a swoop before the big move to the downside. So, and important to pay attention to the MACDs here. If you look at it on this is slow MACD actually. This is SMA, slow MACD. Put it onto a fast MACD. You can see here when it actually flagged, the MACD changed. The fast MACD changed to green, and it stayed green. Whereas on this section here, yeah, you can see that, I mean, this did not, when we had it, it had not even changed green yet. It changed green a few months later. I mean, this was like 1 month, 2 months after before it changed green on the slow MACD. So there's always some element of weakness on Bitcoin, and before you get the ultimate move back up to the upside when you get an ETS. And the best thing to do is to wait for the MACDs to all line up, like this and this lines up. That's the time to buy your Bitcoin, and you get your confirmation with an ATL on the monthly chart. So that is what happened here. And if you go and investigate what happened on the others as well, you will see here as well. Again, you can see the slow MACD had not flagged yet. It was still red when you got your ATS. The following month was red. And then finally, you go green on the SMA, the fast SMA MACD. Um, but the slow, mature MACD was still not yet ready. So, this would have been an early entry into Bitcoin. And then off you went, right? You didn't get any drops at all. There was no drop on this particular one, whereas that one gave us about 23% drop. And then we go and have a look at the other one. And if you look at this one here as well, you can see when you had it, again, the SMA MACD is still red. And you had about from here to there, you had a bit of a drop of about 18%, 17% maybe, 17% drop before the big move. And again, when this changed to green, it was the beginning. The SMA MACD, fast MACD changed to green. It was time to go again here as well. What do we have here currently? You can see that in this current moment, what we got the ETS. None of these MACDs, the SMA MACDs change. The mature MACD has not also changed either. If you put it onto a fast one as well, you can see here, if you look at it from a fast MACD perspective, we've started changing. So we've started changing and it's been changing. The fast MACD has been changing. But the SMA, this is the EMA and it's changing. The SMA is not changed yet, right? Okay. So I think, if you look at it from the perspective here of this candle, then chances are you're going to get a bit of a move to the downside on this. You're going to get a bit of a move to the downside. If you say maybe what 15% to about 20 or 17%, 15, 16%. We had 24, then you had 24%, you had a 17% when you got the ETFs on some of these other times that appeared. So if you say somewhere in between 17 and the first one was 24, came to nothing, then to 17. I would say maybe 15, 10%. Even if you've got a 10% move to the downside, you'd be somewhere here 59,000. Let's put at 15% and say 15% is 55,000, will be probably where maybe we get a little bit more, 54, 55,000, 50 to 55,000 maybe might be where you would go. However, let's look at it from is it going to go straight down there? No, I don't think so. I think when we close the month, I think you'll probably go back into this week and maybe even go all the way up to about 81K. It's very likely before you get that move back to the downside. And we can investigate that on a 4-hour chart and look at it from a 4-hour perspective. So there are some good divergences here on this chart. You can see here, you got your fast MACD here printing, changing, going, expanding to the upside. The mature MACD also expanding to the upside. You do have a TL as well, which signals actually you'll be going up. We've done the fake out move, which is the fake out move following the TL. I'd expect this to go up. So, back to, we could even go all the way back up to retest the 200 here, which is sitting around 77,000. So that monthly view of coming back into this, 77,000 will be somewhere here. And I think we'll probably do more than that. So I will put it slightly higher. So definitely there's a move back up before you would get the move to the downside. Okay, so that's what we're seeing on Bitcoin at the moment. Now let's move to some of the coins that we like. Now, of course, one more thing on Bitcoin. So, I guess the safest way to buy Bitcoin, you are into the zone of looking for a buy. This is the zone to be looking for a buy. This zone here. If you get another bullish candle with another green candle afterwards, there's no hesitation. It's a buy straight. So that's what we see. Let's move on to some of the coins we like and some of the coins we follow. Let's look at RARI from a monthly perspective, see what's going on there. So RARI was one of the best performing coins, I'd say, because it fell to what 13.3, went all the way to 30, 31.45. It doubled, literally more than double before coming back to the zone. With these this sort of inverted candles, you tend to go sometimes below it, slightly below it, before you get moved back up to the upside. So that's what I would expect. And we've done that in June. And you can see here the MACDs are all positives on the fast MACDs. If you bring it onto the slow MACDs and go and look at RARI, you can see here, again, the slow MACDs are all kind of lighting up. You can see that, this is the SMA, mature MACD, and this is the fast one, the SMA, the normal SMA, and it's also changed as well. So, positive signs are there. And I think if we close midnight, I would expect that we can possibly come down a little bit. A little bit, you could come a little bit more down and then shoot back up to the other side. I think probably maybe we get a move back up into somewhere here to retest the point three zone. Could go higher, but as Bitcoin does is move back up to 78, 80K or wherever that might be, all these coins will be going to the upside. So but it's an opportunity to take money off the table. If you're already in some coins, take some off the table so that if we get another push to the downside on Bitcoin and these coins all come back down, you can reload your bags again. That's what I'll say on RARI. Let's move on to IMEX. So IMEX, uh, again, if you look at the monthly chart, what you can see here, again, you had a green candle and you want gone up. I mean, the MACDs are all positive. This is basically a checkout. I see this as a checkout. And I think when we close, you can get a small move to the downside, maybe to 13.5, and then back up the other way to maybe, somewhere around the 26, 27 zone, somewhere there, before you get any sort of move back down, would be what we say. If you go and look at it on a 4-hour chart, you can see the early signs are there. So, you have the early signs. We have a TL, and we've gone below the TL, and we are forming some reasonably, bullish candles. So if this sticks as a good candle on 4 hours, then likelihood is you would go up. So there's some unfinished business up here. This here, unfinished business there. If I bring it onto the 8-hour chart, you can see here you've got an institutional ball underneath. There's unfinished business to the upside, which they need to take care of. So this move down is a great opportunity for grabbing some cheap IMEX before you get a move to the upside. So that's IMEX. Let's have a look at the next one, OP that we like. OP as well. Let's look at it on the monthly chart. So we had a green April, and we've gone up, and now we've kind of sold back in. The MACDs are still positive. If you put it onto a 4-hour chart, you might get an indication of what's likely to happen. So now it's a very, very similar story to the other one as well. You've got your TL, and when you get TL and it's not exceeded to the upside, this move here is a fake out, and you'd expect us to go back up. There's some efficient finished business to the upside. If we go on the 8-hour chart, or even 12-hour chart, there is unfinished business to the upside here. There is unfinished business to the upside. So I would expect that we would be going back up the other way. Again, back up to about on the monthly chart, go back, even if you're going to go down again, I'd expect this to go back into this candle proper. But I think it's reasonable to expect this to come to somewhere here around 23, 23, somewhere there before anything may happen. So that's what we see on OP as well. And then if we go to FET, one of our coins we like as well, you can see on the monthly chart, we had a green in March, a red in April, and now a green in May. I think at the close, I'd expect us to take some liquidity off this candle here before we get going again. If you bring it to the 4-hour chart, you might get that indication there. And you can see here on the 4-hour chart, you can see your kind of weakness showing up on the 4-hour chart. So maybe you come back all the way back to somewhere here, 23. If it gets really bad, you may be coming back all the way to 21.6, 21.7, somewhere there before you get going again. Put it on a daily chart as well. There's unfinished business to the upside. So this is a great pullback. I think I'll probably maybe put a pullback to somewhere here. Worst case scenario, 20, somewhere there, where they take some liquidity off this candle before you get going. That's very possible. But IMEX looking really strong. One of the strongest coins, I think, most likely. Sorry, at Fetch AI most likely going up to test the 36 zone before. But there's a bit of unfinished business here on this candle, which goes all the way to 0.45. So that's where probably they're going for. And this itself is unfinished business in itself. So, and there's some really good divergences on the weekly chart as well. So let's move on to the other coin we like, the Injective. Injective is another coin we like. Again, on the monthly chart, I think we will close green on the month, which is a strong close, strong volume. Take a bit of liquidity off and then continue the journey to the upside will be what we say. So if you go to the 4-hour chart, you can see there will be some weakness on the 4-hour chart, I'm sure. Yeah, there you go. So there is weakness on the 4-hour chart. You can see here that there are some weaknesses here. There's weaknesses at the top, and that's why obviously it's coming down. They're going to take some liquidity off here of these candles before, so you could come all the way back to 582 before you get going on Injective as well. But great moves on these coins coming. Let's move on to the next one. Say we like that one as well. And you can see, say on the monthly chart again. Uh, Probably close green, which means, most likely maybe you might come down a little bit and then go up and attack this point 11. Point 11 will be what we say. If you look on the 4-hour chart and see, we can see here, it's doing this pullback. That pullback is happening. And put it onto an 8-hour chart. We're getting an ETS, which is good. Put it on a 12-hour chart. So there's a bit of a weakness on there. Maybe we get the slight move to the downside before you get that move back up to the upside. There's unfinished business on this candle, and there is unfinished business on this candle as well. So that most likely goes up as well. And then you've got your render. So let's look quickly at render. We like as well. Monthly chart. I think we'll close green on render as well, which means we may just do a small pullback and then continue the journey. I think it's going to go up to the 350 zone. That's where it's aiming for. If we go on a 4-hour chart, we already have a TL. And when you get TL on these charts, you tend to do a cleanup of the bottom of it first. And this becomes a divergence, then you'll be going back up again. So looking quite good on render as well, for that move back up as well. And all these moves I'm talking about are early June moves, right? Before any big collapses. These are, probably for the first week, maximum into the second week of June. You should expect some more weakness following that. And then if you go to ICP, we like the ICP as well. It will also close green. ICP actually did really well, moved all the way from $2.31 to $4, so doubled quite nicely. Almost doubled actually, almost doubled nicely there. I think you close green, chances are you could get a wick to the downside when you close before you go. If you go on a 4-hour chart, you get an indication of likely, yes, it's more likely if you've gone into a TS, TS, you could be coming back the other way first before on the TS, but the MACDs look positive. The daily is not looking good. So likely, that cleanup probably happens on the monthly chart, which is, you may get a bit of a pullback first before you go back up the other way on ICP. And then let's go and see. Let's look at AAVE. AAVE is one of the coins we like as well. And AAVE is not looking good on the close. The close here is not looking good. But I think there's still a move back up. It's similar to this one here, similar to this one here. You close red and then you go back into the wick of the candle before you go down. I'd expect the same. So I'd expect maybe we go back to maybe about $97. It's at 81.97 before you get any move back to the downside. And I think this place here, this zone, $46, $44, $40 will be a great buying opportunity on Aave. So we'll be looking out for that one. Let's move on to the next one. Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is closing really strongly on the monthly chart. I think it closed positively green. You're going to get a lot of liquidity taking back of this candle. If you go to the 4-hour chart, you can see there's already weaknesses showing. You got P3, so some liquidity can be taken off the back of this. So you could go slightly higher first. Could be hitting maybe 72, it's possible, before you get a cleanup and where they take all the liquidity of this candle here before you get going again. So about $62. Um, and if I bring it to the daily chart, then you're looking potentially at this moving up a little bit. So it could be coming all the way around to $48, $45 after they move to the upside before you get going again. And that would be a great buying opportunity. So if it cascades down to somewhere here, the $40, $50, that would be a great buying opportunity for a move back up again. Let's move on to the next one. Fat coin, we like that as well. And fat coin on the monthly chart again. So fat coin did 3 months in a row and it's now coming back down. I think if it closes like this, I would expect more downside, but I expect this to come back into the wick of this candle. So if we put it onto the 4-hour chart, what you can see here is you can see the divergences are in play. You can see that it's in play, and therefore I'd expect this to go back into it, maybe to 20. And if you put it back on the 20.2, 20 won't be disastrous. It'll be just back into the wick of this candle before you get any more move to the downside. So that's what coin. And then let's look at the last coin. We have SUKU. SUKU is one that we like as well. And SUKU, what you can see on SUKU here is, I think we'll probably close green. Probably close green. Maybe you might get a small move to the downside before you get pushed back up to the other way. I think SUKU maybe can come all the way back to test these points here, point 0.02. Maybe you might push higher slightly to 0.303 before you get a move back up to the downside. It's the kind of your pullback when Bitcoin pulls back. And I think Filecoin last but not least Filecoin. Filecoin is another one that we like as well. Filecoin is also going to probably close green, and after that, you'd expect us to come back into it, maybe back to 125. It could push higher if the rally extends, if Bitcoin dominance dumps really hard, then it could push higher and maybe come and test some of these points here around the 253 there. You could get that sort of move. That's all I've got on these coins. I wish you all the best for the month of June. There is some weakness coming, but there's also an opportunity for some of these coins to do kind of some good moves in the first 2 weeks of June before you get the weakness showing. So I wish you all the best and God bless.